You've been dreaming of starting your own beehive, maybe for fresh honey or just to make some cash on the side, but the cost of equipment or not knowing where to begin has held you back. The good news? The Amish have perfected natural methods that don't rely on expensive tools. In this guide, we'll explore their simple, sustainable techniques that make beekeeping accessible for anyone ready to dive in. Natural swarm capture. In the Amish countryside, you might see a beekeeper calmly standing under a buzzing tree, their eyes fixed on a lively swarm of bees clinging to a branch. To most, this scene might feel chaotic, but to them it's an opportunity, a gift from nature. Amish beekeepers see swarming not as a nuisance, but as an essential part of nurturing their hives. It's about working with the natural instincts of bees, not against them. When a swarm of bees leaves an established colony to find a new home, Amish beekeepers are ready. They set up bait hives, simple wooden boxes treated with beeswax or a dash of lemongrass oil, mimicking the scent of a thriving colony. These hives are placed in fields or along wooded trails where bees are likely to settle. Once the swarm moves in, the beekeeper carefully relocates it to a larger, permanent hive, ensuring the queen is safe and the colony can thrive. I still remember the first time I saw a swarm being captured. There was something almost magical about it. How the beekeeper calmly coaxed these buzzing creatures into a hive like he had a secret agreement with nature. The process is entirely manual, relying on their deep understanding of bee behavior. Some Amish families even pass down swarm-catching techniques through generations, turning what might seem like an intimidating task into an act of tradition and skill. Instead of buying bees from commercial suppliers, the Amish tap into nature's own systems, ensuring that the bees are naturally adapted to the environment. It's not just about harvesting honey, it's about respecting the balance between people and pollinators. And in today's world, where bee populations are in crisis, these practices are more vital than ever. You don't need a high-tech setup to capture your own swarm. A bait hive made from untreated wood and scented with natural oils can attract a passing colony. Place it in a quiet, flower-filled area and watch for activity during swarming season, which usually occurs in spring. The key is patience and a little courage. If the idea of catching a swarm feels overwhelming, start small by observing local beekeepers. Once you're ready, you'll find it's less about equipment and more about connecting with nature's rhythms. After capturing a wild swarm, the next step is finding, or in this case, building, the perfect home for the bees. The Amish don't rely on store-bought hives. Instead, they craft them by hand, pouring care and purpose into every detail. Handcrafted wooden hives. Watching an Amish craftsman build a hive was a humbling experience for me. Every detail, from the way he sanded the wood to the careful alignment of the frames, felt deliberate and meaningful. Imagine running your hands over the smooth surface of a wooden hive, knowing it was built with nothing but simple tools and care. For the Amish, every hive tells a story of craftsmanship and self-reliance. These aren't just homes for bees, they're works of art that embody their philosophy of living simply and sustainably. Amish beekeepers rely on handmade wooden hives, often modeled after the classic Langstroth design. They build each hive from untreated wood, carefully measuring and cutting each piece to fit perfectly. Some families even gather their own lumber, adding another layer of connection to the process. The hives are insulated naturally using burlap or straw, and often feature small, thoughtful touches like ventilation holes to keep the bees comfortable. Building their own hives allows the Amish to avoid industrially produced materials, which often come with chemical treatments harmful to bees. It's also an act of independence, cutting costs and ensuring that the hives are perfectly suited to the local environment. These handcrafted hives stand the test of time, supporting generations of bees and beekeepers alike. Starting your own hive might seem daunting, but it's a rewarding way to connect with both bees and nature. If you're handy with tools, you can find simple plans online for building a Langstroth hive. Use untreated wood and take your time. It's as much about the process as the result. If woodworking isn't your strong suit, you can purchase a handmade hive from a local craftsperson or beekeeper. Either way, creating or sourcing a hive with care sets the stage for a thriving colony. Once the bees have settled into their carefully built hives, they begin their incredible work. But how do the Amish harvest the honey while keeping it as pure and natural as possible? This is where manual honey extraction comes in. Manual honey extraction. Imagine pulling a golden comb from a hive sticky with honey, the air sweet with its aroma. Amish beekeepers rely on manual presses and gravity to separate honey from the comb. After harvesting the frames, they cut or scrape the comb into a mesh sieve or cheesecloth-lined container, letting the honey slowly drip into a collection vessel below. Some even use hand-cranked extractors, which are powered entirely by human effort, to spin the honey out of the comb. The process is slow but deliberate, ensuring every drop is captured without over-processing. Once the honey is collected, the wax is cleaned and repurposed for candles or other uses, ensuring nothing goes to waste. Manual honey extraction preserves the integrity of the honey, keeping it raw and unheated. This approach aligns with Amish values of purity and natural living. Unlike commercial methods that often filter out beneficial enzymes, their process ensures the honey retains its full nutritional profile. Beyond the product itself, the method fosters a connection to the bees and their hard work, a value that runs deep in Amish culture. You can replicate this process at home with simple tools. Invest in a stainless steel sieve or cheesecloth and allow the honey to drip naturally into a clean container. If you prefer efficiency, a hand-cranked extractor is a great option, offering the same benefits without relying on electricity. The key is patience. Letting the honey flow slowly preserves its flavor and health benefits. And don't forget to save the wax. Melt it down to make candles or balm, just like the Amish do. I tried this method once during a visit to an Amish farm, and I'll never forget the taste of that first spoonful of raw honey. It was nothing like the processed versions you get at the store. This was liquid gold straight from the comb, full of flavor and life. As peaceful as bees can be, opening a hive isn't without its challenges. The Amish have perfected a gentle way to keep the hive calm, making inspections and honey harvesting safer for both bees and beekeepers. Smoke for calming bees. There's a moment of tension when you open a hive. The hum of the bees grows louder, their movements quicken. For the Amish, this is where their handmade smokers come into play, creating just enough smoke to calm the hive. It's a delicate balance between skill and respect for these industrious creatures. Using a simple smoker crafted from tin or other repurposed materials, Amish beekeepers produce a cool, steady stream of smoke by burning natural materials like burlap, dried leaves, or wood chips. They puff the smoke gently around the hive entrance and over the frames. This disrupts the bees' alarm signals, allowing the beekeeper to work safely without causing panic or aggression. It's a method passed down through generations, with every family having its own preferences for the best materials to burn. This practice showcases the Amish ability to find harmony with nature. By calming the bees without harming them, they maintain the health and productivity of their colonies. Smoke not only reduces the likelihood of stings, but also preserves the bees' focus on their work. It's an elegant solution that reflects their respect for the creatures that provide their livelihood. Standing next to an Amish beekeeper as he used a smoker for the first time was fascinating. It wasn't rushed or mechanical. It felt like a quiet dance where even the bees seemed to trust him. That kind of calm confidence is something I think we can all learn from, whether we're working with bees or just navigating life. A smoker is an invaluable tool for any beekeeper, and it's easy to make one yourself with a little creativity. An old tin can with a lid and a simple bellows attachment can do the trick. Use natural, untreated materials like dried grass or wood chips for fuel. Practice puffing small amounts of smoke, just enough to keep the bees calm without overwhelming them. It's a skill that takes time to master, but once you do, you'll appreciate the safety and ease it brings to hive management. Once the bees are at ease, you'll notice something fascinating. They're left to build their comb entirely on their own. This approach respects the bees' instincts and results in healthier hives. Let's check out the Amish practice of natural comb building. Natural comb building. Rather than supplying bees with preformed wax sheets, Amish beekeepers allow them to create comb naturally within the hive. They set up empty frames with starter strips, thin strips of wax or wood to guide the bees, and then let the bees take over. The result is a comb that's perfectly suited to the colony's needs, with varied cell sizes for honey storage, pollen, or brood rearing. The beeswax itself is untainted, free from the chemical residues often found in commercially produced foundations. Step into an Amish apiary, and you might notice something fascinating. The bees are left to build their comb entirely on their own, free from the interference of pre-made foundations or artificial templates. This approach not only highlights the Amish respect for nature's rhythm, but also fosters healthier, more resilient colonies. This method requires a bit more patience and observation, as the bees dictate the pace of comb construction. However, it's a process that Amish beekeepers trust wholeheartedly, knowing that bees instinctively understand how to organize their space for maximum efficiency. You can try this method by starting with foundationless frames, or frames with a small wax starter strip. Place these frames in a well-ventilated hive and give your bees plenty of time to work. Be prepared to inspect the hive carefully to ensure the comb is straight and well attached to the frames. Sometimes bees have their own creative ideas. While it might take longer than using pre-made foundations, the rewards are worth it. Healthier bees and a deeper connection to their natural instincts. Natural comb building supports the health of the hive in several ways. Without pre-made templates, bees can create cells of varying sizes, which may help reduce issues like varroa mites, a common pest that prefers specific cell dimensions. Additionally, this practice aligns with Amish values of simplicity and respect for natural processes, ensuring the hive remains as close to its wild state as possible. The hive is more than just a source of honey. Beeswax, with its rich golden glow, is another treasure the Amish use in creative and resourceful ways. Beeswax processing. I'll never forget the scent of fresh beeswax melting. It filled the entire room with a warm, sweet aroma. Watching the wax harden into perfect little candle molds felt oddly satisfying, like I was creating something timeless and beautiful from nature's leftovers. The hive isn't just about honey. When the Amish harvest beeswax, they unlock a whole world of possibilities. From candles to salves, this versatile material becomes a cornerstone of their self-sufficient lifestyle. After honey extraction, the leftover wax is collected, cleaned, and melted down. Amish beekeepers use simple methods, such as heating the wax over a stovetop or open flame, to separate impurities. The purified wax is then poured into molds to create candles, which are a staple in Amish homes. Beyond lighting, beeswax is used for practical items like waterproofing fabrics or sealing jars, and even for medicinal balms and lotions. The process is as sustainable as it is resourceful. Every bit of wax is utilized, ensuring nothing from the hive goes to waste. Some Amish families have even turned beeswax production into a small cottage industry, crafting handmade candles and selling them at local markets. You don't need fancy tools to start processing beeswax at home. Gather leftover comb, melt it gently in a double boiler, and strain it through a fine mesh or cheesecloth to remove impurities. Once purified, the wax can be poured into molds for candles or stored for later use. Experiment with simple recipes for homemade balms or polish. You might just find a new hobby in the process. Beeswax isn't just a byproduct, it's a renewable resource that embodies the Amish ethos of waste not, want not. By processing and reusing wax, they reduce reliance on commercially produced goods and embrace the circularity of nature. But what happens when the seasons change and the cold sets in? The Amish have a plan for that too, ensuring their bees are protected and cared for through even the harshest winters. Overwintering techniques. Winter preparation begins in the fall, as Amish beekeepers inspect their hives to ensure adequate honey stores. This is the bees' primary food source during the colder months. To insulate the hives, they use natural materials like burlap or straw, wrapping the hives to keep out harsh winds. Hive entrances are reduced to prevent drafts while still allowing ventilation, which helps minimize moisture buildup, a major threat to wintering bees. The frigid winters of Amish country are no match for their resourcefulness. When the snow falls and temperatures drop, Beekeepers employ a mix of tradition and ingenuity to ensure their hives survive until spring. Additionally, some beekeepers place their hives in sheltered locations, such as near barns or hedgerows, to protect them from the worst of the elements. Feeding supplements like sugar cakes or fondant are occasionally provided if honey stores run low, but only as a last resort. The goal is to let the bees rely on their natural processes as much as possible. Overwintering is crucial for the survival of the hive. Without proper preparation, colonies can succumb to cold, starvation, or moisture-related diseases. For the Amish, this practice represents their commitment to stewardship, ensuring the bees are cared for even when they're not actively producing honey. It's a quiet, behind-the-scenes effort that speaks volumes about their values. Preparing your hives for winter doesn't have to be complicated. Start by checking honey stores and ensuring your bees have enough to last the season. Use breathable materials like burlap to insulate the hive while allowing airflow. Position your hives away from direct wind and heavy snow. If necessary, supplement their diet with sugar cakes, but remember that honey is always the best food for bees. With a little preparation, you'll give your colony the best chance of thriving when spring arrives. Every hive has a leader, and the queen bee plays a vital role in its survival. But how do the Amish help the colony naturally select and raise a new queen? Queen rearing. I once witnessed an Amish beekeeper calmly explain how the bees choose their queen. It felt like listening to a story from a wise teacher. His patience and trust in the bees were inspiring, and it reminded me that sometimes the best solutions come when we let nature take the lead. In the world of beekeeping, the queen is everything. She's the heart of the hive, the one who keeps the colony thriving. For the Amish, raising queens isn't about control. It's about working with nature to ensure the bees can sustain themselves. Watching them nurture these vital leaders offers a glimpse into their remarkable harmony with the natural world. Amish beekeepers don't rely on artificial insemination or commercial queen-rearing kits. Instead, they encourage bees to raise their own queens naturally. When a colony starts showing signs of needing a new queen, like swarming or supersedure, a natural replacement of an old queen, the beekeeper carefully observes the hive's progress. They may also create splits, dividing a colony into two and allowing the queenless portion to raise a new queen from fertilized eggs. This process involves nothing more than patience and an understanding of bee behavior. The bees construct special queen cells, feeding the larvae royal jelly to develop a new queen. For the Amish, this hands-off method ensures genetic diversity and healthier colonies. Natural queen rearing preserves the hive's resilience. Unlike commercial queens, which are often bred for specific traits, naturally raised queens maintain the genetic diversity that helps colonies adapt to their environment. This aligns perfectly with Amish values of sustainability and self-reliance. By letting the bees do what they've been doing for millennia, the Amish avoid interfering with nature's design. If you're an aspiring beekeeper, you can encourage natural queen rearing in your own hive. Watch for signs that your bees might need a new queen, like decreased brood production or swarming activity. To create a split, simply move frames of eggs, brood, and bees to a new hive box, ensuring there are no queens in the split colony. The bees will instinctively begin raising a queen. It's a fascinating process and one that teaches patience and respect for the hive's natural rhythms. Not all hives are built the same, and the Amish know this well. One design they often turn to is the top bar hive, a simple yet brilliant structure that promotes natural beekeeping. Top bar hives. Imagine opening a hive and finding a perfectly crafted comb hanging naturally from wooden bars. This is the beauty of the top bar hive, a design the Amish favor for its simplicity and harmony with the bees' natural instincts. It's a design rooted in practicality, but imbued with elegance. Top bar hives are built as long horizontal boxes with wooden bars across the top. These bars act as guides for the bees to build their comb naturally. The design eliminates the need for pre-made foundations, allowing bees to follow their instincts. Amish beekeepers appreciate this low-maintenance setup, which makes inspections and honey harvesting easier. With no heavy boxes to lift, it's a design that anyone, regardless of strength or experience, can manage. These hives are often handcrafted with materials sourced locally. The simplicity of the design means less equipment and more focus on the bees. By keeping the hive close to its natural state, the Amish ensure their colonies are healthy and productive. Top bar hives encourage bees to build comb naturally, supporting their overall health. The design also makes hive management less invasive, reducing stress on the bees. For the Amish, this reflects their belief in working alongside nature rather than dominating it. It's a practice that embodies simplicity, efficiency, and respect for the natural order. When I first saw a top bar hive in use, I was struck by how natural it felt. The bees seemed so at ease, as if the hive was part of the landscape rather than a foreign object. It made me wonder how much better we'd all be if we worked with nature instead of trying to control it. Building a top bar hive is a great project for beginners. You can find simple plans online and use untreated wood to construct the box. Once built, position the hive in a sunny, sheltered area and let the bees do the rest. With fewer components to manage, top bar hives are perfect for those looking for an easy and rewarding introduction to beekeeping. Of course, beekeeping isn't without its challenges. Pests can wreak havoc on a hive if left unchecked, but the Amish rely on natural solutions to keep their bees safe. Natural pest control. Beekeeping has its challenges, and pests are at the top of that list. From mites to wax moths, these threats can devastate a colony. For the Amish, the solution lies in prevention and natural remedies, an approach that protects the bees without disrupting the delicate balance of their ecosystem. Amish beekeepers use a variety of organic methods to keep pests at bay. To combat mites, they often dust the bees with powdered sugar, which encourages grooming and removes the mites naturally. They also use screened bottom boards to allow mites to fall through the hive and out of harm's way. For wax moths, keeping hives strong and well-maintained is key, as healthy colonies are better at defending themselves. One Amish beekeeper showed me how he sprinkled powdered sugar over his hive, laughing as the bees buzzed around him, dusted in white. "They don't mind," he said. "It's like giving them a little boost to stay healthy." Watching that moment, I realized that even small natural actions can have a big impact. Some beekeepers even plant pest-repellent herbs like thyme and mint near their hives, leveraging nature's own defenses. These methods reflect the Amish emphasis on sustainability and respect for all living things, even the pests they seek to control. You can adopt natural pest control in your own beekeeping practices. Start by keeping your hives clean and well-ventilated to discourage pests. Dust your bees with powdered sugar to help them groom off mites, and consider planting herbs like lavender or thyme near your apiary. These simple steps can make a big difference in maintaining a healthy hive without relying on harsh chemicals. Natural pest control reduces the need for chemical treatments, which can harm bees and contaminate honey. By focusing on prevention and organic solutions, the Amish ensure their hives remain healthy and productive. This approach also supports pollinator health more broadly, preserving the fragile ecosystems bees depend on. A healthy hive needs more than just good management. It needs a thriving environment. The Amish go to great lengths to create landscapes that support their bees and other pollinators. Natural forage promotion. Imagine a quiet Amish farm, where fields of wildflowers and clover stretch as far as the eye can see. This isn't just a picturesque scene, it's an intentional effort to support the bees that make it all possible. For the Amish, cultivating natural forage is about more than just aesthetics. It's a way to ensure their pollinators thrive. Amish beekeepers create pollinator-friendly landscapes by planting diverse flowering plants such as clover, sunflowers, and wildflowers. These plants provide bees with the nectar and pollen they need to produce honey and sustain their colonies. Often, these foraging areas are strategically placed near hives, minimizing the distance bees must travel. Amish farmers also practice crop rotation and include flowering cover crops like alfalfa and buckwheat, which serve as a dual-purpose solution for enriching soil and feeding pollinators. They also avoid chemical pesticides and fertilizers, which can harm bees and contaminate their food sources. This commitment to organic farming methods ensures that their bees have access to safe, natural forage year-round. Pollinators play a critical role in ecosystems, and without them, agriculture as we know it would collapse. By promoting natural forage, The Amish not only support their own hives, but also contribute to the health of local ecosystems. Their practices enhance biodiversity, improve soil health, and ensure the sustainability of their farming systems. For them, it's a way to honor the delicate balance between human needs and the natural world. Creating a pollinator-friendly environment at home is easier than you might think. Start by planting a variety of flowering plants, focusing on native species that thrive in your area. Incorporate pollinator gardens or flowering cover crops into your yard or garden. Avoid using chemical pesticides, and consider setting aside a small patch of land where wildflowers can grow freely. By taking these simple steps, you'll not only help your local bees but also support other beneficial insects. As the seasons change, so do the needs of the hive. The Amish adapt their care throughout the year to keep their bees thriving, no matter the weather. Seasonal hive management. In the spring, Amish beekeepers focus on growth, inspecting hives to ensure the bees have enough space to expand and collect nectar. They add or remove hive boxes, known as supers, to manage storage and prevent overcrowding, which can lead to swarming. During summer, their attention shifts to monitoring honey production and ensuring the hives remain strong and healthy. As autumn approaches, they prepare the bees for winter by reducing entrances to keep out the cold and ensuring there's enough honey stored to last through the dormant months. The rhythm of the seasons shapes life on an Amish farm, and their beekeeping practices reflect this natural cycle. From the first blossoms of spring to the frosty winds of winter, Amish beekeepers adapt their hive management techniques to meet the needs of their bees throughout the year. Each season brings unique challenges, and Amish beekeepers rely on experience and intuition to guide their decisions. They observe the behavior of the bees, the state of the comb, and the availability of local forage to determine the best course of action. Spending a year observing how the Amish adjust their hives with the seasons was eye-opening. They moved with such ease, as though they were part of the rhythm of the land. It made me realize how much more in tune we could all be with the natural world if we just paid attention. Seasonal hive management ensures the long-term survival of the colony. Without it, bees may swarm, starve, or become susceptible to disease. This practice also reflects the Amish commitment to stewardship, as they take an active role in supporting their bees through every stage of the year. To manage your hives seasonally, start by learning the basics of bee behavior in each season. In spring, focus on expanding your hive's capacity. During summer, monitor honey production and watch for signs of stress or disease. Come fall, prepare for winter by checking honey stores and insulating your hive. By aligning your practices with the natural cycle of the seasons, you'll develop a deeper connection with your bees and a better understanding of their needs. While honey and beeswax get most of the attention, there's another remarkable product of the hive: propolis. This sticky substance is nature's ultimate multitasker, and the Amish have found ingenious ways to use it. Propolis harvesting. When you think of a beehive, honey and wax are probably the first things that come to mind. But the Amish have long understood the value of another incredible product: propolis. This sticky, resinous substance, sometimes called bee glue, is as versatile as it is fascinating. Propolis is collected by bees from tree sap and plant resins and used to seal cracks, sanitize the hive, and protect against invaders. Amish beekeepers harvest it by scraping it from hive surfaces during regular inspections or by placing mesh traps that encourage the bees to deposit propolis. Once collected, it's cleaned and processed for a variety of uses. In Amish communities, propolis is often turned into tinctures, salves, or ointments, valued for its antimicrobial and healing properties. It's used to treat cuts, burns, and sore throats, and some even mix it with honey as a natural remedy for colds. Propolis highlights the incredible resourcefulness of bees and beekeepers alike. It's a natural antibacterial agent, contributing to the health of the hive while providing humans with a powerful, natural medicine. For the Amish, this practice exemplifies their ethos of using what nature provides in sustainable and practical ways. Harvesting propolis at home is simple. Scrape it from hive surfaces during inspections, or invest in a propolis trap to make collection easier. Once you've gathered enough, clean it by freezing and then breaking it into small pieces to remove impurities. From there, you can experiment with making tinctures or balms. Just be sure to research recipes and dosages to ensure safe use. I'll never forget the first time I held a piece of propolis. It smelled like the forest after rain, earthy and rich. An Amish farmer told me it was nature's medicine, and watching how his family used it for everything from scrapes to sore throats, I couldn't help but agree. To keep their hives healthy, the Amish rely on regular hands-on inspections. It's a practice that blends observation with intuition, and it's crucial to their success as beekeepers. Manual hive inspection. Picture an Amish beekeeper gently lifting a hive frame, his eyes scanning each comb with careful attention. There are no high-tech tools or digital monitors here, just hands, eyes, and a deep understanding of the hive's natural rhythms. This hands-on approach isn't just about maintenance, it's about connection. Amish beekeepers rely on regular hive inspections to monitor the health of their colonies. Without the aid of modern devices, they use keen observation to check for signs of disease, pests, or overcrowding. They look for the queen's presence by spotting eggs and larvae, ensuring she's active and healthy. By observing the behavior of worker bees, they can gauge the hive's overall mood and productivity. The inspections are methodical. Beekeepers carefully remove each frame, avoiding abrupt movements that might agitate the bees. They examine the comb for uniformity, honey stores, and brood patterns. Any signs of trouble, like irregular brood patterns or empty queen cells, prompt immediate natural interventions. To begin manual inspections, start with a calm and steady approach. Wear protective clothing and use a smoker to keep the bees relaxed. Remove frames gently and take your time observing the comb and the bees' behavior. Look for eggs, larvae, and honey stores, noting anything unusual. While it may seem intimidating at first, regular practice will help you build confidence and develop a deeper connection with your bees. Manual inspections allow beekeepers to maintain a close relationship with their hives. This method fosters a deep understanding of bee behavior and health, enabling the Amish to address issues early without resorting to synthetic chemicals or modern machinery. It's a testament to their belief in stewardship, taking responsibility for the well-being of their bees with patience and care. Finally, beekeeping in Amish communities isn't just about the hives, it's about the people and the traditions they share. Knowledge passed down through generations is what keeps these practices alive and thriving. Let's end on an inspiring note with their approach to community knowledge sharing. Community knowledge sharing. In an Amish community, beekeeping is more than just an individual endeavor. It's a shared tradition. Knowledge isn't kept secret or written in manuals. It's passed down through stories, lessons, and lived experience. This intergenerational sharing of wisdom strengthens both their hives and their bonds. Beekeeping knowledge is handed down from elder beekeepers to younger generations, often through hands-on demonstrations. A grandfather might show his grandson how to build a hive, or a neighbor might share tips on capturing a swarm. These lessons aren't rushed, they unfold slowly, allowing the learner to absorb not just the techniques but the values behind them: patience, respect for nature, and the importance of community. Beyond the family unit, Amish beekeepers frequently gather to exchange ideas and strategies. Whether it's discussing pest control methods or troubleshooting a challenging hive, these conversations ensure that everyone benefits from collective wisdom. It's a living example of how shared knowledge can strengthen a community. This approach to knowledge sharing ensures that traditional methods aren't lost. It also reinforces the values that underpin Amish life: humility, cooperation, and a deep connection to the natural world. In an age of online tutorials and quick fixes, the Amish remind us of the power of personal mentorship and shared experiences. If you're new to beekeeping, seek out a mentor in your local community. Many experienced beekeepers are happy to share their knowledge and guide you through the process. Join local beekeeping groups or forums to connect with others and exchange tips. Remember, learning from others isn't just about gaining skills, it's about building relationships and fostering a sense of community. Talking with an Amish beekeeper about how he learned the craft from his father was a moment I'll never forget. He said, "You can read all the books you want, but nothing beats standing next to someone who's done it for 50 years. It made me think about how much wisdom we could gain if we just took the time to learn from each other.